I am really excited to make this rice dish for you. I love it specifically for Thanksgiving. It does take some work, but so does everything else that you make for Thanksgiving. So this is just one of those things that it is worth the time. There's a lot of prep work, it's a lot of chopping, but I think you're really going to be glad that you tried it out. So let's get the rice going very quickly. So what you need is just your pot, and you want a cup of rice. Go ahead and put that in. 2 cups of chicken stock. And then I just like to put a slab of butter in there, okay? About a tablespoon. So just pop that in. And what you're going to do, this is going to cook for about 45 minutes. You put it on the stove, you let it cook, and then you want to let it sit. So let's go ahead and get it on the stove right now. So we've got that on the stove, and so I think now what we do is we want to prep the vegetable part of this. So this is rice and vegetables. And the rice that we use is not a white rice, it is a wild grain rice, and that's really important to make sure that you have wild grain rice for this, because white rice is just not going to be the same. You want a couple stalks of celery, about a cup of mushrooms, and the recipe calls for a small red onion. This is really sort of a medium sized, and that's all they had in the grocery store today. So we'll cut it down a little bit. This is about a half stick of butter. I'm going to go ahead and put this in my skillet, and we're going to cook this down. Put that in the garbage bowl. You want some teriyaki with this. A little bit of garlic, just a clove of garlic. So let's go ahead and get our garlic in there. We'll peel it. We'll pop it in just a minute. But let's go ahead and get our onion chopped. So it says small onion, so I'm going to go ahead and just do about a half onion on that. That's really what you're going to need for this dish. Go ahead and get it peeled out and get it cut. So my mom makes this for Thanksgiving, and I love this dish. This was not something that we grew up with. She started making this, a few years ago, and it is just, I don't know, it's just rich and great, and it tastes so good. Okay, I've got that peeled off there. Let's go ahead and chop up our onion. And I like to chop all of the things here very fine. If you can chop it up almost rice size. I think I mentioned this has teriyaki in it, so you're going to want 3 tablespoons of teriyaki with that. But you'll put that in after the vegetables, saute for a little while and soften up. Pop it in the pan as it starts to melt with that butter. You can hear it sizzle away. Whoops. Let's put that teriyaki there because we don't need it right this second. 2 stalks of celery, not great big stalks, these are just medium stalks. I'm cutting this up into small sizes, small bite size. I love to cook Thanksgiving meals. It is so tasty. And what's great about this, we've got the rice over there boiling and starting to come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we will turn down the heat on it a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and give this celery another chop. You don't want to mess with that rice. You want that rice to cook. Again, it's about 45 minutes, and you don't want to mess with it. You want to take the top off of it and check it out and all that. Just leave it as it is. You make this for Thanksgiving, and you are going to just be the hit of the party, okay? People are going to love it. This is our garlic. I'm going to go ahead and give it just a little bit of a slice. It's just 1 clove. This dish doesn't need a lot of that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put the garlic in there. Let's go ahead and put our celery in there. We get it softened up. What you'll do is when your rice gets together, you'll just mix all of this stuff together, and it just is so rich and so great. Mushrooms. We need about a cup of mushrooms. Again, I'm going to chop these up into tiny little pieces, no bigger than the rice. So this, when we cook this, it's all going to have exactly the same feel in your mouth. All the pieces are going to be very similar. And so you're not going to be like, what is this big lump of celery in here? Or what is this big mushroom doing in this? This doesn't feel right in my mouth. Let's check on this. Oh yeah. It's cooking up for us right there. I'm going to go ahead and give this just a little bit of hit of salt, okay? It's just kosher salt, just a couple pinches. 1, 2. The teriyaki is not as salty as soy, but it's going to have a little bit of sodium in it. There's so many dishes that I love to make that family, every single thing that you make reminds you of that family member, of someone that used to make something very special. My grandmother made noodles. In addition to a turkey, that sort of thing, she made noodles. They were just fantastic. Okay, so this smells great. We've got our celery in here, a small red onion or a half of a big one. It's really all that we did here. Okay, let's go ahead and get our mushrooms. I want you to look at the consistency of these mushrooms. Very small. Okay, even this one is a little bit too big. Run it through there. This is really important. Texture is so important when you are cooking. The way you get it right is to take your time. Don't rush through this. And that's what Thanksgiving is all about. Don't rush. Don't rush the holiday. Enjoy it. So this is all cooking together, and you let it cook down. Oh my goodness, this looks so great. What great memories. We used to always go to my grandparents' house. So they lived 6 hours from us, and they lived 3 hours apart. So we would go to one grandparent and then the other, but we would have a couple of Thanksgiving meals. And I think you probably are familiar with that in your life. This is teriyaki. I've got 3 tablespoons. I'm going to put it in this dish. I'm going to go ahead and put it in right now. But we go to one, the one and eat and eat and eat, and then we go to the other and eat and eat and eat. Just fun and great memories. This smells amazing. Amazing. This recipe, we got this recipe from Lundberg, which is a rice company. And so this is very similar to what they have. I may be changing a little bit, but it's very close to what they've got in it. And it comes together so well. As a matter of fact, I'm not even sure they have it listed on their recipes anymore. It's so old. This is something that, like I told you, we didn't grow up with it, but we started making it long, long ago. All right, so let me show you this so you can see. It's ready to go. This just needs to sit. That's all it needs. And you just let it rest, and as it rests, it's going to mellow together, and then you're going to mix this when your rice is finished up. And I think you're going to love it. I can't wait to put this together for you. All right, so our rice is ready. You want to check this rice. A cook time is around 45 minutes, but you really probably want to cook it a little bit under that, maybe 41 minutes, something like that. And then you just let it steam out, okay? Because if you cook it too long, it'll stick to the bottom and burn. Okay, so we have our rice. And then all we're going to do is take our rice and mix it in. Okay, this is with our vegetables that we've already prepped. They've been sitting here waiting and waiting patiently for this to be ready. And it is finally ready. So then you just stir it all together. And you can reheat this if it's gotten cool. And you just stir it up like this. I'm going to season it one more time with just a little bit of salt. Like that. I like to use kosher salt, and I like to use it a pinch at a time because then you can just kind of taste it as you go. Table salt can be a little saltier, so be aware of that if you're just shaking table salt on there. All right, let's give it a taste. I can taste the teriyaki in there. I can taste the mushrooms in there. So tasty. Those onions, that butter that we cooked it in. That celery is nice and translucent and cooked through. The rice on this really cooked nicely, and it's actually got a little bit of a bite to it, and it just has such a great flavor. I hope you'll try this for Thanksgiving. I think it will be a hit with your family, and I think it will become a staple in your family every single year. Hope you enjoy it.